Canadian Grand Prix review plus much more in this week's Lewis Round F1 Update. And we'll start off with the Canadian Grand Prix, and Lewis Hamilton took his first win of the 2012 season, making it 7 different winners out of the first 7 races. Hamilton had to work for it though, as the Ferrari of Alonso and the Red Bull of Sebastian Vettel, both of those drivers kept him honest. Vettel started on pole and had the lead until the first stops arrived, where Vettel just didn't have the pace. It seemed for everyone it took a couple of laps for those Pirelli tyres to get up to temperature, but the key point of the race was when Vettel and Alonso pulled back, allowing Hamilton to make a gap of around 3 to 4 seconds, where Hamilton started to realise that, thinking perhaps Ferrari and Red Bull would be making a one-stop strategy compared to that and the McLaren of Hamilton, where they were going for plan A for them, which was a 2-stop. Now the reason for this was on Friday, the Red Bulls and Ferraris were able to go much further, about 10 laps longer on the one stint of tyres than the McLarens could. So the McLarens thought, well, the 2-stop strategy in theory will be quicker for us, so we might as well go aggressive and try and get the win. When Hamilton came out of the pits, he was about 15 seconds behind Alonso, but it didn't seem that hard as Hamilton was allowed to push as hard as he liked, mainly down to the fact that Canada isn't a high-wearing circuit, just like Monaco, very kind to the tyres, so he was able to push on and able to close in on the Red Bull very quickly off Vettel, which he did so within 10 laps to go. Vettel didn't defend the position at all, as he pitted soon after. But Alonso, he stayed out, but Hamilton, within a couple of laps, caught up with him, used the DRS to pass Alonso. Alonso trying to use a craft of easing off, allowing Hamilton through and then getting right behind him, trying to get a slipstream, but his tyres weren't in as good shape as Hamilton's, and he was never going to outbrake the Brit. So, and then Hamilton, though, no problems, crossed the line, and as ever, a crazy podium finish in Canada with 3 different teams, and it was a fantastic race from Hamilton's point of view, and for the public neutral eye. Canada always gives us thrills and spills. And some quick news stories now. Hamilton still hasn't decided where he's going to go. There's no negotiations as yet. More likely, I would have thought that his team and McLaren will discuss contracts in the summer break after the Hungarian Grand Prix at the end of July. Still, I don't think he'll join Ferrari. Alonso, even though both aren't bad enemies, I don't think Alonso, he wants that team to be with him. I don't think he'd want that to be put at risk if Hamilton came along. Really, it is a giant jigsaw at the moment, because you've got Webber's contract running out at the end of this year, so too Felipe Massa and Michael Schumacher, all at those big 4 teams that could interest him in joining, including McLaren, of course, interested in joining those teams. Mercedes, I don't think that'll be a go, but I really think Red Bull is the only other option for Hamilton if Webber decides to join Ferrari, as speculation is surrounding him with that move. I personally think he will go there. At the moment, the way it's going, it looks as though Hamilton will still stay with McLaren, but you never know. I mean, we thought Button in 2009 was going to stay with Brawn, which was going to be turned to Mercedes the following year. Brawn said himself he was 99% sure, turned out moving to McLaren, so you don't know. It's one of those positions where I think Hamilton will wait for more likely Webber to make his decision, and then after that, I think Hamilton will have a clear decision to make. So check www.lewisroundf1.co.uk for more news, as well as Lewis Round F1 on Facebook and Twitter. But that's it for this week's F1 update. I'll be back next week, but until then, goodbye.